who thinks that triggers are bad, what's your opinion on keyboards? Keyboards just trigger samples.
And that's why I say most modern metal drumming isn't actually playing drums, it's just feet keyboards. Where the f you come up with that? Ultimate goal here is about saving you money. Morning, everybody. How's it going? It's time for another episode of viewers' comments. I've been doing these sporadically over the last couple weeks, just trying to get back into a bit of a routine here. Things are looking up slightly in my personal life, and just once again, I want to thank everybody for all your support over the last couple months. It really, truly means everything to me that you've been there when I really needed you the most. More content is coming over the next couple weeks. I'm slowly starting to get back into a shooting schedule as my wife begins her recovery. She's out of the hospital, she's in rehab, and she is roaring back to life, which is phenomenal. She's just astounding me on a daily basis with how she's doing. So in case anybody was wondering, yes, I'm going to be doing a full video on that in the very near future and give you guys some details and all that good stuff. Anyway, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart for all your support. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. It would be a giant help. Once again, I'm just kind of dealing with a major life crisis at the moment. But please do not send money. All I ask is that you just watch the show. That's all. Thank you so very much. Let's get to it.
I bought a used 100-watt Valve King amp at Guitar Center about 10 years ago for about $200, and I still blast it out to this day. Love it. I run it through a Behringer...
What the fuck is a Behringer?
2x12 stacked on top of a Behringer 4x12. Why? Why not?
What is this Behringer brand you keep talking about? Do you mean Behringer? Here's the thing. That Valve King's going to be really loud through those Behringer cabs, no question about it. However, those Jensen speakers that Behringer dropped into those cabinets are absolute fucking garbage. They're just terrible. They're almost as bad as the PV shitfield that they used to put in the 5150 cabs. They're just terrible. My suggestion would be go check out some Mojotone speakers, see what you can find. The BV30Hs, BV25Ms are just phenomenal, awesome speakers that I would highly, highly, highly recommend. What is it? Cole's got a new one coming out from Eminence. I really want to check that out. It should be cool. That's the thing. You can probably make that amp sound absolutely phenomenal with just a slight speaker upgrade. Go look for some usage sessions online as well. You'd be surprised what you can find. Just do yourself a favor and get rid of those stock Jensens. They were fucking garbage. The cabinets themselves, though, not too bad at all. Just don't get them wet.
Please, please, please collab with Jim Lil. Enough said.
I would absolutely love to do a collab with Jim Lil. I've reached out to him several times and have got crickets. So if anybody out there knows Jim or is in his circle of friends or whatnot, bring it to his attention. Say, hey, Jim, I'm a big admirer of your work and I would love to do a collaboration at some point. I think it would be really interesting. The country guy and the metal guy bust down some myths together. I think that might be really fucking cool.
If you put a crap load of gain on your tone, any amp will sound the same. It's like anything in a dark room has the same color. It's just a physical fact. But then again, metalheads are not famous for being the brightest to begin with.
Mr. K905, I have got a point of contention on that, my friend. Here's the thing. The closer something gets to white noise, which high gain distorted guitars are, the easier it is to discern the differences. In fact, discerning the difference between clean tones is much more difficult. You talk about physical fact. Well, that is a physical fact. Your fact is pulled out of your ass. Mine can actually be measured and seen on a screen. It's really something easy to do. In fact, I've done it numerous times on the show. But thank you so much for writing in and letting us all know about your superior knowledge, not backed up by any kind of links or evidence of any sort. And the personal attack, again, for metalheads not being famous for being the brightest to begin with, when nothing could be further from the truth as well. For evidence of that, go watch Rock and Roll Jeopardy, the episode with Dave Mustaine where he just annihilates everybody. That's a bit of an eye-opener. And just a note to the general public here, everybody watching the show, please think about what you're writing before you hit that send button. That way you don't wind up putting your foot in your mouth like Mr. K905 just did.
I think people need to realize here that by showing any amplifier cheaper than the big brand, he's artificially inflating their price above what the Soldado was in the first place. Therefore, he's inadvertently a spokesperson for Soldado by making their amps cheaper than the competition.
Where the fuck do you come up with that? Whoa! Top secret 1837. Really, dude? I'm gonna drive the price of used Valve King combos up above what a fucking Soldado costs, a $4,000 amp. Making their amps cheaper than the competition. I think you might be a little bit misguided with that statement. Here's the thing. At least one thing I've learned in 10 years of doing YouTube, it doesn't matter how many facts and valid and solid arguments I bring to the table, people are still going to go with perceived value rather than actual value. That's just a part of human nature. I am never going to drive down the price on Soldados. That's just not going to happen because X guitar player used it on album Y, therefore it has value. There's no getting around that. For confirmation on that, go look up the price of a Dumble.
You serious?
Well, partial credit, as long as tubes valves are not worn out and a match balance circuit are not out of balance, they should sound the same. Like if you said the odd tube might be microphonic or shorted, that's another story. Back in the 60s, most tubes in the US came out of a few plants and cross-branding was common, so there's no way to know that an RCA 12AX7 was made by them or by Sylvania or even in Japan. By the mid-70s, there was only one plant in NA, and it somehow survived until the early 80s. The tooling still exists, and maybe they will restart production again, but most corporate knowledge on how to run a tube plant is now lost.
Well, being a guy who was in an auto plant for 27 years and you see just how complex modern vehicle assembly is, yeah, you might have a good point there about how to build tubes being lost, or at least will have to be relearned. Building cars is an incredibly complicated, delicate balance. One little change up the line here can have massive ripple effects down the line. Believe me, we used to deal with that crap every single day. Now, there was some talk a few years ago about, I think it was Western Electric wanted to start bringing back 12AX7 production to North America. I don't know if that's gone anywhere. When it comes to 12AX7s, even if they are made in North America, I don't know if anybody's going to be wanting to pay the kind of prices that a North American built product will command. But then again, they're guitar players and they do have a tendency to pay through the nose for things that don't really improve your sound at all, like a Dumble. It's been a little while since I've done this. I'm trying to, have some goodwill just because I'm really grateful for you guys. But I think it's time we bring back Butthurt of the Week because this one's a bit of a doozy.
Until you can explain to me how I can stand through that and play the same notes and as in that clip on the same two amps, 5150 ammed rectifier, and just clear differences that even my mother or friends with zero musical knowledge can hear easily, then am not buying it.
Apparently you didn't buy a copy of Hooked on Phonics either.
You're either purposely accidentally changing something in the mix to make Tyam sound the same. Turn off the EQ pedals to signal chain of amp, cab, mic, then let me know. And be honest about how it sounds to you in the room, as the only reason what you're saith could make sense is that there are differences between amps, but only in the room, not in recordings.
Well, thank you so much for making that easy to read out loud. Guys, I've said this numerous times, there's zero excuse for illiteracy with the level of education available to anyone in the world. Seriously, that's just plain fucking lazy and stupid. Now, I do think I managed to get the general gist of what the guy was trying to say, despite the high level intense language gymnastics there. He's pissed about that 5150 versus rectifier video where I showed how close they can really sound, and if you turn the knobs, you can get them to sound pretty much identical. First and foremost, I don't care how it sounds in the room. How it sounds in the room is completely irrelevant. Again, we'll come back on the Jim Lil thing. He had a great line. Show me your best in the room tone. What record was that on? Because every single sound you've ever heard on any record ever made went through a microphone. That's what we're concerned about. The name of the show is Spectre Sound Studios. Most of you guys have figured out that this show is about recording, but apparently Silas 1342 needs a little bit of a hint as to the actual meaning of this show. The whole point here isn't to make people look stupid. The whole point here is I'm trying to show you guys where you should be spending your money. And if you've already got a 5150 or a rectifier, chances are you don't need to spend a whole bunch of money on a second amp to get similar tones. Try turning the knob first. That and get a reamp box and you can do some tests and show this for yourself. Yes, in the room, they're going to sound vastly different, but a microphone is only going to pick up a small part of that speaker. And then you have to work with that amp in context of the other instruments, the drums, the bass, the vocal, the leads, everything has got to fit together, which means that huge sound you're hearing out the room has to get narrowed down to something like this. That's what you have to work with. And that's what we're concerned with. And suddenly those massive differences you hear out in the room don't make that big of a difference across a recording. Save your money, be smart. Getting upset that I showed you the fact that a 5150 and a rectifier in a recorded situation have very few differences isn't going to solve any problems for anyone. And as always, if you doubt what I say, I invite you, please do your own test. Go grab a reamp box. Go start running the same clips through different amps through the same cabinet mic setup, and you can see just how little of a difference things make. And if you turn the knobs, you can make them sound nearly identical. Ultimate goal here is about saving you money and helping you make informed choices as to what's going to help you get your goals faster.
Damn, dude, are you ever happy? Ripped on the Gibson version, now ripping on the Kramer version. It's fucking cool that they made them. Just be happy they exist.
Oh, Chris Digital, get off your fucking high horse, man. Am I happy? Yes, I'm really happy. I'm really happy, like, with certain Vs, that's for sure. Like this badass, Schecter V1 Apocalypse. Now this is a high quality flying V. You know why? The paint isn't fucking cracked. Or check out this. This is like the world's only Art Deco flying V. This is by Vicious Guitars out of Toronto. This is handmade. This isn't just a guitar. This is a freaking work of art. This is a high quality instrument if there ever was one. It's just fucking fantastic. I'm happy this exists. Or this amazing Solar Cannibalismo V. This guitar just plays beautifully. It's amazing. I've had it for the last couple of years and yeah, it's a personal favorite of mine. Truth of the matter is I really wanted to like that Kramer Mustaine V, but I was really disappointed when I finally got around to playing it. It was rather underwhelming. Now, in case you missed it here, my underlying point isn't about trying to make you feel bad for your purchases. It's trying to help people out there make informed choices so they can see what products to avoid when there's better offerings from other brands out there on the market. Because I know how hard it is to earn enough money to play an instrument these days. It's not easy. So I'd rather see you make an informed choice than see you throw your money away on something that's gonna not be so good. That's all. But yes, I am happy. I'm happy that so many people have been supporting the show over the last couple of months while I go back and forth to the hospital every day to see my wife. Hell, dude, I'm happy you watched the video and left a comment. That makes my day. I'm so happy about that. I'm happy to everybody who leaves a comment. It lets me know that my videos are not falling on deaf ears, that I'm getting through to certain people. That absolutely makes my day. And I'm happy that I don't have to get my ass out of bed and go to a job I fucking hate. I'm happy that I get to do this for a living. And for that, I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Flame video!
Well, I think David Michaels 8563 might be a Marshall Code owner. Sorry you got ripped off, dude.
Never in my life have I mic'd up different amps through the same cab and thought, these sound interchangeable.
Let me guess. You don't own a reamp box. Do yourself a favor, grab one, run a few signals through it with different amps through the same mic and cab setup, and prepare to have your eyes opened.
Not a fan of prog metal, I take it.
No, I like good music.
Just a reminder, gear doesn't matter if the song blows.
Hey, Dave Card 23, I think he was talking to you.
Would have been a much shorter video to just say you don't like the direction music went. Doesn't mean it's not good because Dio isn't singing it. It's a different style. It isn't supposed to stay the same forever.
I would agree. It shouldn't stay the same forever. But you would think that people might actually try learning how to fucking sing. That got boring in the early 90s. To quote you, it isn't supposed to stay the same forever. So why do grunting death metal vocals sound exactly the same as they did in the 90s? Answer that and stay fashionable.
I remember hearing about a guy who used non-working outboard gear on full display to get the clients, but everything was processed on his computer. Since musicians hear with their eyes, it seems like a good plan.
And if I was actively campaigning to get more bands in here, that actually sounds like a pretty good strategy. Just go on Reverb and look for old recording gear that's broken and doesn't work. People are selling for parts just so you can load your racks up and make you look more professional. That's actually not a half bad idea. You guys looking to start studios, you might want to try that strategy.
So what's a cheap Princeton with reverb and trem?
Now, this is not my area of expertise at all. I'm into like high gain amps and that kind of thing. But here's the funny thing about that. I've got a video coming up. You're definitely not going to want to miss, and it's more about the origins of tube amps. And it's pretty interesting and eye-opening stuff, that's for sure. My suggestion would be, if you're looking for a cheap Princeton, go grab a used Trainer YB1A. Those are a dime a dozen here in Canada. You can get them dirt freaking cheap. And then go get yourself a decent reverb and trem pedal. There you go. Problem solved. Keep in mind, it doesn't have to be built directly into the amp for it to be any good.
Dude, not music related, but while watching these older vids, OMG, Glenn, is it just from stopping sugar? You look great now.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I look at some of my older videos too from like, say like 2017, 2018. I'm like, geez, I was fat. I lost a crap ton of weight in 2020. I've gained a bit of it back, but I've still managed to keep a lot of it off. And a lot of it has to do with, not eating sugar and just really reducing my overall carbohydrate intake, and most importantly, not snacking before bed. I was terrible at that. Cereal, ice cream, popcorn, just like horrible shit. I stopped that and I switched over to like herbal tea before bed, like Dreamland tea, that kind of thing, just to help kind of mellow you out at the end of the day. And that seems to be working out pretty well. The other advice I would give is don't eat refined crap. Stay away from white bread, refined sugar, that kind of stuff, because your body is not designed to handle that shit. Worked out pretty well for me so far. All right, everybody, thank you so very much for watching the show. Like I said, these are going to come sporadically from time to time over the next month or two as I spend my time going back and forth to the hospital and helping my wife with her recovery. Thanks again, everybody, for all your support. I really appreciate it. I am going to have an update on that pretty damn soon. But once again, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. It would be a tremendous help. And if you want to help me in a very difficult time in my life, just please hit a playlist and let it play. Not asking anybody to send any money or anything like that. All I ask is just watch the show. I've got over 2,000 videos to be watched. There's all kinds of awesome tutorials and reviews and that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. And, for the fact I've got over 150 million views and I'm still only at 600,000 subscribers, it's kind of mind-boggling, to be honest with you. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and it really would mean everything to me. So thank you very much, and hope to see you again real soon. And lastly, not least, I almost forgot. If there's somebody out there that you care about a great deal, give them a hug. You just never know when it might be the last time you do.